Atomo!
No, Atomo. I, Superman.
This is the very first movie I ever remember watching. I was 4 years old when I saw the fisherman look up at the giant in the ocean, and it absolutely terrified me. Once I was able to get through that scene though, I got to watch an absolute masterpiece, and I'm grateful that it's one of my earliest memories. I was completely enamored by the story of a small boy and his slightly larger friend, and the magic of this movie still remains even today. Although there are some truly dark and disturbing elements to The Iron Giant, it's a beautifully told story about love and friendship and identity, transforming the tale of a boy and a robot into a timeless classic. Also, if you haven't watched this movie, please go and watch it now and then come back to this video. It's amazing, you won't regret it, and most importantly, there will be spoilers in this video, so go watch it first. It's not even that long, so you might as well. It's set in the 1950s in the fictional town of Rockwell, Maine. A mysterious giant crash lands just off the coast in one of the most harrowing scenes in any animated movie ever.
The lighthouse! I see it!
And shortly after is discovered on the mainland by our protagonist, Hogarth Hughes. What follows is a story about their friendship, with Hogarth teaching this confused, innocent behemoth about goodness and kindness and the beauty of the world. Along with our dynamic duo, there's a colourful cast of characters including Hogarth's mum, a single parent struggling with balancing her demanding job with raising a rather hyperactive child. There's Kent Mansley, a government moron who is so obsessed with finding the giant that he's willing to do some truly despicable things. He's maybe one of the most unlikable, arrogant, obnoxious, horrible characters ever put to screen. And then there's, of course, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Dean.
Hey!
Yeah?
You're right in the middle of the road!
Yeah?
Alright.
How does one go about describing perfection? An artist, a man of culture, a coffee connoisseur, the beatnik baron, but also a genuinely kind-hearted father figure to Hogarth. I'd say he's the highlight of the movie, but that would be doing a disservice to the other characters. And the cast is basically perfection. Jennifer Aniston as Annie Hughes, Harry Connick Jr. as Dean, Christopher McDonald as Kent Mansley, John Mahoney as General Rogard, and they all give 100%.
Where's the giant, Mansley? What?
But the two performances that I think deserve the most praise are Eli Marienthal as Hogarth and Vin Diesel as the Giant. To start with Mr. Toretto himself, Vin Diesel does an exceptional job portraying the friendly giant. Jonathan Decker from the channel Cinema Therapy describes his performance perfectly in their episode about the Iron Giant.
Like genuine pathos in the smallest little bits of dialogue and the vocalizations. It's not even the words he makes. It's the little panic noises he makes when he comes to and he's, did I hurt anybody?
The small mannerisms and vocal details add so much to the kind of anxious innocence that the giant represents. It also helps that, especially at the time, Vin Diesel himself was a pretty big, bulky guy, and so you have a giant portraying sadness and guilt and joy being reflected directly into the movie. It's incredible. Eli Marienthal gives what I consider to be the best child actor performance in any movie ever. Mackenzie Foy in Interstellar is a close second place, but Marienthal absolutely nails Hogarth's manic and passionate personality.
But I don't think I'm smarter. I just do the stupid homework. If everyone else just did the stupid homework, they could move up a grade and get pounded too. Is there any more coffee?
The ability to portray the goodness and sweetness that Hogarth has, whilst also combining this with the kind of perpetual hyperactivity, is impressive even for a regular actor. But Marienthal would have been around 12 years old when making this movie, making it all the more mind-blowing just how good this performance is. I do also quickly want to make a point here to say please don't watch the signature edition of the movie, watch the original. The signature edition includes 2 deleted scenes that I think make the movie slightly worse. One of the scenes makes Dean way worse, and the other deleted scene provides a backstory to the giant that I think kind of ruins the point of his entire character. So, I would recommend avoiding the signature edition and just watching the original 1999 version if possible. With that out of the way, the close companion to the excellent performances is of course the absolutely stunning 2D animation. CGI was also used in this movie as well, but the majority of the hour-and-a-half runtime is filled top to bottom with breathtaking 2D animation. It also helps that it has this cozy autumnal setting, really underlining this almost childlike, nostalgic feel to this coastal town. It's a very sweet reminder of childlike wonder and imagination. It's really lovely. It reminds me a bit of Calvin and Hobbes, especially during the scenes when they're just hanging out, chatting and having fun. It's just a couple of friends enjoying a holiday together.
For professionals only. Banzai!
Sound plays such a key part in this movie too. Michael Kamen, who also composed the music for X-Men, Die Hard and Band of Brothers, produced a magnificent score. It effortlessly flows between nostalgic and dramatic and cinematic and heartfelt without ever feeling tonally out of place. In his video essay about Studio Ghibli movies, YouTuber Captain Christian, which is an amazing channel that you should really check out if you haven't already, describes sound design like this.
Sound is what gives animation its texture. It's the depth of a two-dimensional image. When you can feel the crunchiness of that grass, the weight of that plane, you're not just watching the world, you're living it.
This description almost perfectly suits the sound design in The Iron Giant too, with the weight and heft and power of the giant being felt in every slight movement and sway. For much of the movie, we're experiencing the world from Hogarth's eyes, and so the magnificence of the giant is only emphasized as it's being witnessed by a curious child. The lake scene, for example, wouldn't be nearly as effective without the deep, explosive sound of the giant hitting the water. Even in the slightest movements, the film feels so tangible. It's in these moments that the giant is no longer fantastical, it's real. Despite the joyous and wonderful nostalgia, there are much darker themes that writer and director Brad Bird explores here. It opens with a shot of Sputnik, setting up the Cold War as a background character that features prominently throughout the film. Communist paranoia was an incredibly prevalent and incredibly dangerous aspect of US politics at the time, spearheaded by Joseph McCarthy, a man so infamous he has a term defining political repression named after him. McCarthyism referred to the witch hunt of supposed communist sympathizers in America in the 1950s, resulting in hundreds, if not thousands, of ordinary US citizens losing their jobs and being blacklisted from their respective fields, significantly hindering their future employment prospects. It was a time of deep paranoia for many citizens who feared having their lives ruined based on little to no evidence. McCarthyism in The Iron Giant is made manifest in a single person.
Kent Mansley, United States government. Kent Mansley, I work for the government. Kent Mansley, work for the government.
Kent Mansley, you work for the government.
Kent is essentially the perfect stand-in for McCarthy, this kind of omnipresent authoritarian hell-bent on snuffing out any and all threats to the US, no matter how reckless and no matter how many lives are ruined in the process. This overbearing Big Brother surveillance is represented by Kent living in Hogarth's home and constantly questioning him about the giant's whereabouts. Without the historical context, Kent is still a tyrannical madman terrorizing a child. But with this context, he's transformed into an embodiment of communist paranoia. Brad Bird and his team were able to present the Cold War, and the fear-mongering that came with it, as this ever-present factor that affects the everyday lives of American citizens in a way that is digestible for all audiences. McCarthyism itself stemmed from fear, specifically the threat of annihilation. I think the film does an incredible job at distilling this complex political issue into the exploration of fear, not only in the ways we naturally feel it, but also in the ways in which it is taught.
But who built it? The Russians, the Chinese, Martians, Canadians? I don't care. All I know is we didn't build it, and that's reason enough to assume the worst and blow it to kingdom come.
McCarthy also relied heavily on questioning people and then trying to get them to rat on their friends by threatening their careers. This is exactly mirrored in the barn scene, which is nightmare fuel, by the way, in which Kent threatens to take Hogarth away from his mother if he doesn't tell him where the giant is. Kent also seems to have similar insecurities as McCarthy did, namely getting the attention and respect that they think they deserve.
He called back to his office and he asked his secretary, "Are we getting any publicity?" And she said, "We're getting a lot of publicity." His secretary described him as being almost intoxicated with the joy and excitement of getting this much attention for a story.
With all that being said, does Kent reign alone as the only authority in the movie? Does his power go completely unchecked? Is he the only representation of American society? Well, not exactly.
Yes. No. Call me Dean.
Dean is such a perfect foil for Kent, as the slick head government agent represents McCarthy and the laid-back, soul-patch-having scrapyard worker artist, Dean, represents the Beat generation. This is a term used to describe the complete antithesis to McCarthyism and 1950s American society more broadly, and included writers like Allen Ginsberg and Jack Kerouac, who wrote about the anti-capitalist counterculture movement occurring at the time. their main focus was to criticize consumerist America and its strict, traditional values, which is echoed in Dean's speech to Hogarth about going against the grain.
Who cares what these creeps think, you know? They don't decide who you are, you do. You are who you choose to be.
He's also the quintessential beatnik. He's an artist spouting philosophical ideas about the nature of art. He drinks coffee, he wears turtlenecks and has stubble, but most importantly, he stands up to the man. Artists are one of the first groups in the US to be targeted by McCarthy, so it's only fitting for these two to act as diametrically opposed parts of American society, and this chat about nonconformity would have been the exact thing that McCarthy would have labeled as communist or anti-American. Not only do we have this political complexity hovering over the characters, but one of the reasons that the film was even made was because Brad Bird lost his sister to an act of gun violence. His pitch to Warner Brothers focused primarily on the idea of a gun having a soul and not wanting to be a gun, which is the Giant's main arc in the movie. So we have a scathing criticism of McCarthyism and its destruction, but also a deeper, more personal connection to the filmmaker advocating for peace and for choosing the option of peace, especially during a time of great uncertainty. This is perfectly exemplified by the ending. The military finally catch the Giant, forcing him to go on the run with Hogarth in his hands. After being chased by some fighter jets, the Giant is shot and crashes into the snowy hills below. He checks to see if Hogarth's okay, only to find his seemingly lifeless body in the snow. Don't worry, Hogarth's okay, he just took a quick nap. After hints here and there about the Giant's true nature, we finally see the gun. It's the complete antithesis to what the Giant has been up to this point. This rage and ferocity transforms the Giant into something completely unrecognizable, both metaphorically and physically. It's through this transformation that we get the brutal reality of war, the destruction, the panic, the violence. All of this stems from fear and misunderstandings. The Giant doesn't mean to harm, and Hogarth is still alive. Look and see how pointless war really is. And the only thing that can end this rampage is the love that a boy has for his friend. Hogarth distills the message of the film not only into a single sentence, but even just into a single word.
And you don't have to be a gun. You are what you choose to be. You choose. Choose.
The Giant sees his friend alive and well, and he regains the gentleness he had before, represented primarily by the widening of his eyes, not only demonstrating the shock he feels at his own transformation, but also to show the real him, the genuine softness and kindness that the Giant has at his core. This ending works so well because the Giant learns what it means to be good and chooses to be good in his defining moment. Superman is brought up throughout the film as a kind of paragon of good for the Giant to strive towards, and considering the Iron Giant after the newest Superman movie only underlines the need for goodness despite the complexity of the world.
People were going to die.
I am not a gun.
Today represents a clean start. Not that the past doesn't exist, not that the consequences don't continue, but you can literally start right now and say, who do I want to be?
Every choice from now on,
yeah,
you can choose to be Superman.
In his final sacrifice, the Giant shows that no matter who you are, what you've done, or how dark the world can be, anyone can choose to be good. Anyone can be This is a beautiful film. It embodies childhood imagination and wonder, whilst also tackling death, morality, war, politics, and many other difficult subjects. It's the handling of these subjects that gives the movie its timeless feel, as they apply to every facet of the human condition felt at any age. The point of the movie isn't to underline the misery of the human experience. In fact, it's exactly the opposite. After all of the fear-mongering, oppression, and tyranny, what matters the most is the never-ending perseverance of love and kindness. It's about choosing to be good, and no matter how complicated the world gets, that will always be the right choice.
We shape the future. Every one of us, in some small way, shapes what tomorrow will be. And if we start giving up on it and believing that we have no effect on it, then it will be lousy. But if we say that we can affect it and we think about it and think what the best thing to do is, that future will come too. So I believe in that better thing.
Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.